Hello, e-classmates. I'm Marby Rodriguez, and this is my presentation on the final part of Module 5, Layout and Packaging of Print Materials. I will be discussing about the cover of the leaflet, and in the end, I will be giving a brief summary of the module. Let's start with the definition of a leaflet. So, a leaflet is an illustrated single sheet information material folded in several ways, like this. The different kinds of folds have been discussed by our other e-classmates. Next, I would like to differentiate leaflet from other print materials like a flyer and a brochure. So according to AGC Print Solutions, a leaflet is a single sheet of information that is folded like this, while a flyer is only a single sheet of information like this. And a brochure is usually several pages and the pages are stapled together. So that's a brochure. Now, let's talk about the cover of the leaflet. So, the cover of the leaflet is very important since it's the first thing that our target audience can see. So, it's the first impression on the material. If you want your message to reach your audience, then you have to catch their attention and curiosity. So, the most important characteristic of the cover of the leaflet is should be eye-catching. Now, there are many tips online on how to create an effective cover for your leaflet. But today I will be discussing about the tips by Montagnes. As we go through each tip, we will also be assessing community-based leaflets I have found on the street, but they're in Japanese, so I apologize in advance. I've also got Filipino leaflets that I found online. Let's start with the tips for layouting the cover. Tip number one is that your leaflet should carry only one simple message, and it should answer the question, what is the publication all about? Now, let's assess this leaflet I found online by World Health Organization and Department of Health. So it says malaria in the Philippines. So that's a simple message and it talks about the publication or the material. So I think it passed this tip. Tip number two is that the cover should be related to the inside of the publication. So that means you shouldn't deceive your readers by designing a cover that's not obviously related to the rest of the text. Now, this is a leaflet by FilipinoPoliticalIssues.com, and this is embracing diversity, the value of respecting traditions, Filipino political issues. Let's check what's inside. The first thing you can see is it says manopok. That's a traditional Filipino traditional value. And we also have here poverty and freedom, which are political issues. So the cover is related to the inside of the publication. So it passed this tip. Next, your cover should have an interesting but informative title. You should write that in front. Now, there are several forms of a title. So, first form is a statement. So, a statement is simply states or tells you something. For example, this example in the textbook, UPLB in focus. I've also found some examples online. This is the Planting Journal, and the title is School is Out, PK is in. PK is like a summer camp. So those are statements. Now, these two are also in statement forms. Let's have the second form, which is question. So it's very interesting if you have a question as your title. For example, make money from trash. Here are other examples I found online related to social change or development communication. First is, are you prepared for disaster? That's a question form. And this one's very interesting. Stop smoking. So instead of telling you to stop smoking, it's asking you, like it's in a question form. I also have here a community-based leaflet in Japanese, but the title is in question form. It says blood donation. Do you know all about it? And next form is suggestion. So suggestions tells you something or gives you advice. For example, invest in treasury bonds and go ahead. Some examples I found online are these two. This is a suggestion. Make your event run better with less stress. And also this one, join our site loss councils. It's also a suggestion. Next is a command form of a title. So it's like an authoritative form. It tells you to do something. For example, get out and vote. Some examples I found online is act now. Now I could not find a community-based leaflet with a command title. The difference between a suggestion and a command is that a suggestion, it tells you something that you can take into consideration. So you have a choice whether you want to follow it or not. Now, a command is a direct order. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very authoritative. Next tip is if you can, then use an attractive illustration, especially people in action. So I have here a leaflet of a campus. This is a public campus in this area, and they show you people in action. So universities doing their courses. So if you can, if you have it, then it's better to show people in action on your cover. Next, fifth tip is that your cover should suit the color to the subject of publication. Now, this is a color scheme by an Italian illustrationist. So we have here cold, sadness, depression is blue, rage is red, etc. Now, it would be very strange if you want to make a leaflet of a kindergarten using all black. That would be strange. Now, another example that is in the textbook is it's better to use green for environment or agriculture leaflets. Next tip is you have to make sure that the message of the illustration is clear. That means you should not make the reader guess what the illustration on your cover is all about, and you should choose relevant imagery. For example, if this is blood donation, it has blood, droplets, Filipino traditions, and Mari in the Philippines, the Philippine map. So they're very clear pictures or illustrations. Next is you should put illustrations and the illustration should be on the lower half of the cover. So that's a tip by Montagnus. Let's assess whether these leaflets follow that tip. Probably, yeah. It's under the title, but still has some text here. Well, here the illustration is actually above the title and below the title. So that is just a tip by Montagnus. Next. So those are the 7 tips on how to create an eye-catching leaflet. I will be summarizing Module 5. So Module 5 differentiates layout from packaging. And the gist of a layout is that it's the arrangement of the elements. When I say elements, these are the text, the graphics, the pictures, and when I say packaging, it means the document's appearance after the layout. So it happens after the layout. So that means that packaging itself includes the layout and then physical characteristics like the type of paper and the ink and also the binding style and folding style. That's packaging. Those are the differences between the two. Now, in Module 5, the desired result, why we study this, is that we want to create an attractive layout and packaging of whatever print materials that we want to publish for any development communication purposes. And readers should be encouraged to choose to flip through the pages when they see your leaflet or your flyer or your brochure. And those are the reasons why we are studying about the layout and packaging of print materials. We want to be an effective communicator. Now, here are my references. I hope you learned something from my presentation. And for discussion questions, number one, please tell me what characteristic of a leaflet cover would make you pick the material up and flip through the pages, as an average passerby. And for my second discussion question, if you were to create a title for a leaflet cover about the environmental issue plastic waste, what would your title be and why? So any title form will do. It could be question, statement, suggestion, or command. And that's all for today. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much for listening.